Is one local charter school playing dirty when it comes to poaching students from MPS?
I was surprised to see that they would stoop this low.
A big court date coming up tomorrow for the governor. Should he be worried?
No, because in the end, the case still isn't going forward.
And the city now offering to sell homes for $1, but when you see them, you'll understand why.
Plus, I'm going to show you how soon you're going to need the umbrella with your first alert forecast.
The CBS 58 News at 10 starts now.
It's got local parents on edge. A bizarre respiratory virus sweeping the Midwest that's landed hundreds of children in the hospital.
And local health officials have now been put on alert. CBS 58's Bill Walsh live with the latest tonight. Bill?
Yeah, and those local health officials getting their doctors, their caregivers up to speed on the enterovirus. You know, there are dozens of strains. Most of them are not a big deal, but this one is rare and can land your child in intensive care. We asked experts what parents should watch out for.
And Michael's just still at home.
At first, Joanna Clapp thought 3-year-old son Michael came down with the common cold.
Just some congestion and a cough.
But that quickly changed.
He was having a really hard time breathing.
Joanna was so scared she took Michael to the hospital.
There's just something very different with this one.
They were sent home that night, but the very next day, Joanna back in urgent care, this time with 8-year-old Zach. He also had trouble breathing.
My son's inhaler hadn't been helping him.
Klatt showed us the medical records. Both kids diagnosed with an upper respiratory infection. No sign of the rare strain of enterovirus D68.
I did not know there was anything going around. I probably would have asked for testing.
Doctors tell us Joanna had good reason to be scared. This virus starts out much like a cold, then gets much worse.
10 to 15% of the cases that they're seeing have required children to go into the ICU setting.
It's in 10 states, including a cluster in neighboring Illinois. Doctors are preparing for this rare strain to hit Wisconsin, but there's no vaccine, no drug that will cure it.
You give the patient fluids, you monitor their breathing, you supply them oxygen as needed.
Doctors say parents should follow Joanna's lead and seek medical attention if
the child has new wheezing, so they've never wheezed before and all of a sudden are wheezing, or if the child has asthma and their inhaler or nebulizer is not helping them with their symptoms.
So it was a scare for mom, but Joanna Klatt's kids now back to their rambunctious selves.
So they are doing wonderful now.
All right, we called the State Department of Health today. As of close of business today, no confirmed cases of enterovirus here. That could change, of course. The good news is adults have already been exposed to this virus. They don't get sick from it. As with any virus, the best defense against it, washing your hands very often. And keep an eye on those kids. Breathing problems are the key. For now, we are live in Milwaukee. I'm Bill Walsh, CBS 58 News.
Bill, thank you. Meantime, a new study from the CDC says there were slight increases in childhood cancers among African Americans and childhood kidney and thyroid cancers.
We've seen a dramatic increase. I think we've seen almost a double of referrals over the past several years.
Even with the increase, though, there are still only 8 childhood cases of thyroid cancer each year for every 1 million children. The number is even lower for kidney cancer. The study's author says more studies are needed to determine what's causing the increase.
Some local education officials are calling it bribery. CBS 58's Priscilla Luong is live to tell us about an unusual incentive now being offered at a charter school here in Milwaukee.
Bring in a new student and pocket some extra cash. That's what the Urban Day School is offering members of its community, and the MTEA is not too happy about it. $100 for each referral.
We're attempting to get kids in as soon as possible.
That's what Urban Day School in Milwaukee is offering to people who bring in new students.
We could hire staff to do recruitment. We find our best recruiters as our parents and people who have associated with Urban Day.
According to the charter school's website, the incentive will be offered through September 19th, and there's no limit on the number of referrals one person can bring in.
I was surprised to see that they would stoop this low, and I feel sorry that it's come to this.
Bob Peterson is president of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. He says this incentive seems more like bribery.
I think schools certainly should market themselves. That's happening everywhere. But that should be on the basis of what they offer to students, not on a cash return for each head you bring in on the day that the state takes its count.
James File, president of the Urban Day School, says that's not the intention.
What we choose to do sometimes in our selection of our strategies is we're trying to keep our overhead as low as possible.
Files says with smaller class sizes and highly effective teachers, more people should know about this alternative to traditional neighborhood schools.
It's not necessarily a level playing field that exists. I mean, we are really at a disadvantage relative to how much the state provides charter schools.
And the Urban Day School is chartered by UWM, and Peterson is calling on the university to step in and stop this incentive. Live in Milwaukee, Priscilla Luong, CBS 58 News.
Priscilla, thank you. A local veteran who served in Afghanistan says he's now a prisoner to decades of tuition debt.
I joined the Army because I could no longer afford my college education, and while I was in Kandahar making daily patrols, I was also making payments on my student loans.
Student Saul Newton among those taking in the Milwaukee premiere of Ivory Tower, an award-winning documentary that examines the rise of college tuition, leaving millennials with little hope of opening a business or even buying a home because they're looking at paying off their student loan debt.
I think that really what's required is some sort of dramatic legislation to sort of reorder the sector of higher ed, but it seems very clear that there's really not a sort of mandate for that legislatively.
A press conference with the director and other city and education leaders drew a large crowd at MATC before the movie premiere. The director chose Wisconsin in part because of proposed legislation allowing refinancing when interest rates go down. With hundreds of vacant properties belonging to the city, it's a simple concept. Milwaukee will sell foreclosed properties for $1 each and then front a loan for up to $50,000 on any rehab costs. The homeowner would pay back that loan over time without interest. Alderman Russell Stamper came up with the proposal, and today he picked up a co-sponsor for the bill.
I think it offers another tool in our toolbox of trying to deal with this crisis, which is really holding down a lot of redevelopment efforts in the city and has really hurt assessed values and property values.
The bill will have to be vetted by a committee, but Bauman is optimistic the full council will support it. The question is, if it passes, will people use it? Bauman says a rent-to-own program started 2 years ago has only had one taker.
Tomorrow, a federal appeals court will take up the John Doe investigation targeting Governor Scott Walker's campaign. And during a stop in Waukesha today, somebody asked the governor if he's worried.
No, because in the end, the bottom line is no matter what happens, even if the Court of Appeals reversed that decision, the case still isn't going forward. That's one important thing because a lot of people overlook that.
Legal experts we talked with tonight say the governor might be right about that, but he also might be wrong. Either way, tomorrow the 7th Circuit in Chicago hears arguments on whether that probe should continue. Prosecutors have been looking into whether there was any illegal coordination between Walker's campaign and certain conservative groups, coordination that allowed big money donors to give as much as they wanted during the recalls without revealing their names. A federal judge halted the probe back in May. The governor was also asked today about a newly projected $1.8 billion budget shortfall now being forecast by the nonpartisan Legislative Fiscal Bureau. A shortfall he says will dissipate if the state economy keeps growing like he expects it to.
They assume no growth. That's what they do historically. That's not just for this memo. They always do that assumption looking ahead based on zero growth in revenues. But we believe strongly that looking ahead, our policies we have in place will, at a minimum, allow us to hit that 10-year average, which wipes out that impact in the future.
But Democrat Mary Burke has a very different take. She says, quote, Governor Walker's fiscally irresponsible approach and his failed stewardship of a lagging economy has resulted in a state budget picture that is a mess. Meantime, a new poll now shows Burke leading Walker in the race for governor, 48% to 44%. Those figures are from We Ask America, a manufacturing group out of Illinois.
An elderly woman attacked and sexually assaulted in her home, and the suspect was already a registered sex offender. According to a criminal complaint, 58-year-old John O'Brien broke into the woman's Greenfield home on August 27th. She tried to fight him off, but he allegedly touched her and removed her clothes. The woman says when he asked to take a bath, she made a break for it and ran to a neighbor's house. O'Brien is charged with second-degree sex assault and burglary. A doctor's report is due back September 16th after his defense attorney questioned his competency.
What fire destroyed, complete strangers have now restored.
It kind of gave me hope and strength to move on forward.
That story coming up after the forecast.
From the CBS 58 Weather Center. Now, your complete first alert weather with Mark McGinnis.
Mark was giving us a heads up about a drop in temperatures. Felt it out there tonight, Mark.
Yeah, and you know what? This is going to be one of the warmer nights we're going to see because later in the week, boy, Boy, we've got some changes coming our way. Let's take you outside right now. Waukesha, we're at 63 degrees, fair to partly cloudy skies and a southeast wind that's pretty light at 3 miles an hour. In fact, temperatures here at 10 o'clock are generally in the 60s. 60 degrees at Fond du Lac versus 68 Milwaukee, 69 in Racine. And it looks like here in Milwaukee we're going to stay in the 60s for an overnight low. But something I've been keeping an eye on, look at these showers out in western Wisconsin. They are rather light, but they continue to push off towards the east. They're weakening in the process, but it looks like we'll see a few showers roll in here. As you can see, everything's coming in from the west-northwest, diving off towards the east-southeast. And that gives at least our inland counties a chance for some light showers, if not making it all the way down here to the lakefront overnight tonight. So a lot of cloud cover tonight. We'll call it variably cloudy, an isolated shower or two. 61 degrees. That area of light rain out to our west continues to dive to the south and to the east. That's just one little area of rain. And again, this is very light for overnight tonight, but it's building up the moisture here in southeastern Wisconsin that eventually is going to get rather significant. Not tonight and tomorrow, though. As we move into your Tuesday, look for the clouds to continue to move in. So increasing clouds, a high of 77, more light showers, and that favors the afternoon, the evening hours tomorrow. Then we're setting up for significant rain. Tuesday night into Wednesday, heavy rain here. This will be the third time in about 10 to 11 days. Northern Wisconsin's going to get the heaviest of rain. In fact, quite a bit in northeastern Wisconsin. Flood watches. Down here in southern Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Madison, 1 to 2 inches of rain here in southern Wisconsin. And again, that timeline is setting up for Tuesday night into Wednesday. So let me show you that on First Alert Precision Forecast. As I take you through the night tonight, we're going to again see some cloud cover and some isolated showers. Then between 8 and noon tomorrow, partly cloudy. So we push on into the afternoon. Here come the thicker clouds for Tuesday night. So by midnight, we're going to be mostly cloudy to overcast, and then off to our west, rain and thunder that will continue to push east. So by 3 o'clock, it's in here. It continues through the morning commute. This is 7 o'clock. Look at this snapshot. 7 a.m. on Wednesday. Widespread rain that could be heavy at times before it begins to exit late Wednesday morning and early Wednesday afternoon. And again, during that time period, say midnight to about noon on Wednesday, significant rain that could easily be 1 to 2 inches of rain in the heavier spots and maybe 2/3 of an inch of rain in the lighter spots. Not only a heavy rain potential, but late Tuesday into Wednesday, we do have a slight severe weather threat here in southeastern Wisconsin. Then the temperatures tumble. Boy, you want to chill? It's coming our way on Thursday, a high of 61. 58 on Friday with clouds and some light showers. Saturday and Sunday, we've got sunshine for the upcoming weekend, but highs only in the 60s and overnight lows in the 40s.
Still ahead, shocking new video, but could it be a career ender for this already suspended NFL star? Also, some are making football analogies when it comes to the moves of this bank robbery crew. And a local man now accused of bringing children to an undercover drug sting. When the CBS 58 News at 10 returns.